All right, so now I have pasted all of my new variable names into, or variable labels here. I've also updated my variable names just because it'll make it easier when I go to make some calculations than instead of hunting through these kind of complex variable names that Qualtrics chooses. Do note that in the variable name field, spaces and special characters are not really allowed, so I went ahead and just used periods anytime there was a space for multiple words in my variable names. Now, some other things that I want to orient you to with regard to SPSS is that SPSS actually has, in addition to the data view and the variable view that gives you the variable information, there are certain things within the variables, like value labels. These all were embedded along just straight through from Qualtrics. Qualtrics defaults to just starting with the number 1. This is completely fine. This is the way I would have chosen to code it, so that all looks perfect. The other things that Qualtrics will do, it generates the data file, not Qualtrics, SPSS, generates the data file, things called syntax files, and output files. So just quickly, I'm going to run a frequency count on my anchovies variable just to show you how this all works. If I were to go through to descriptive statistics, ask for frequencies, grab my anchovies variable, I could paste right here, click this paste key, and it would open up a syntax file for me, which is actually on my other screen. But right here, it has just opened up a syntax file, which I could then simply run by pressing the green arrow. That will then open an output file for me. So you'd have to save 3 things separately. Syntax file, which you've seen and have worked with in SPSS before, output file, where I can save all my various output answers, and then of course the data file under here too. So they all will have different extensions. SAV is the data file, SPV, I believe, is the output, and SPS are the syntax files. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is clean up my data file because we did have those validity checks in there. So all the way down here, I see that Q1 is my if you're paying attention, please select agree. So what I want to just do right now is go through and select or see how many people blew it on the validity question. So I'm going to go through, run a frequency count for that item only, and just to remind you, I can right click here and show the variable names instead of the variable labels. And I see that 7 people missed it completely. How interesting that they went with strongly disagree. They were just, they didn't even try to kind of skip around. They just answered strongly agrees all the way down. And then I see 50 people skip the question entirely. So I'm going to eliminate all of the missing values and the people who selected strongly disagree because I know that they weren't paying attention. So the way I'm going to do that, there's an easy way that I can just sort my file. And that would be simply go to question 1 here in the data view, go to data, sort cases. And I'm going to sort my cases in ascending order by that particular variable. And then my data file will have all of the missing values right at the top of it, all of the people who chose strongly disagree, and then all of my agrees are going to be towards the bottom. So now I'm going to go through and simply highlight these cases and get rid of them. And they're gone. And so now I just have a complete data set of everybody who answered. Oops, looks like I didn't delete all of them, but I needed to. A complete data set now of all of the cases of everybody who passed the validity flag. And I see now that I have 269 complete cases, which matches up perfectly with the 269 cases who said agree. Okay, so there's nothing magical about the way that I've sorted my data file. It doesn't matter at all. So here it is again, and I'm going to save this version, and this will be the version that I upload and share with all of you all.